Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs. Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of Classic Restos. But before we go any further, have a go at this. It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. Now, on this week's episode, you're about to see two interesting segments that'll take us through to the first commercial break. And then after that, some more interesting stuff awaits you. The first is a how-to on importing a vehicle. The first segment relates to transportation within the United States of America, whilst the second relates to how you get your vehicle back from the USA successfully to Australia. Have a look at this. You know, transporting a vehicle from another country back to Australia can be a daunting thought. Sure, you may have your shipper taken care of in Australia, but what about within the United States, getting your vehicle back to the port? Well, it goes without saying that your classic vehicle is an investment and has to be well cared for during transit. And at Roadrunner Auto Transport, their goal is to make vehicle shipping as fast, safe and cost-effective as possible. Roadrunner Auto Transport is a leading provider of nationwide door-to-door auto shipping services. They will arrange and transport your vehicle with care from start to finish. They provide reliable car transport for both individuals and companies, moving thousands of vehicles on a monthly basis. This is where I believe that Roadrunner Auto Transport will meet your every need within the United States. And if you happen to be a Mopar guy, I'm pretty sure you'll agree it's a pretty cool name for a transport company, even if you are shipping a Cadillac. See more at roadrunnerAutoTransport.com and rest easy. With me, I have Danny from Brock Imports. How are you, Danny?
Good, thanks, Fletch.
That's the way, mate. Now, Danny, you're an expert in your field. You've been importing cars from the United States, way over 30 years, right?
Yep, yeah, we have.
Okay, segment on today's show is procedure and what to look for. So first of all, run us through. Okay, somebody's over in the United States, they find their dream car, now we've got to get it back to Australia. What's the deal?
The first thing you do before you do any money exchange, contact someone like ourselves and let us make sure that the car is real. Because there's a lot of scammers out there that are just there to get your money. And often the deal seems great and people jump at it and the deal isn't real. So don't jump at it. Take some time. Let's make sure there is a car.
So what do you mean by that the car is real if they've seen the car and they know it exists?
If they've been there and seen the car and can touch and feel it, that's a different story. So they're pretty safe. But often people get on the internet, there's eBay and there's Craigslist, and scammers will take photographs of cars that are not theirs, advertise them at half what they're truly worth, and say, look, you need to pay a deposit on it, you've got to pay for it today, or someone else is going to get it. Often they're not the case. They're just there to rip you off.
Okay, step two.
Once you've been through us or you've been there yourself and you're happy that the car exists, make sure the car has a title, because we can't take it out of America without a title. And we then, with the title, we help you apply for a vehicle import approval. So once those things are done or established and started, we can then take your car back to our depot and prepare it to bring it back here.
So they've seen the original title, they send a copy of that to you so you can see that, then you send them the import form, right?
That's right. So we need the title, a bill of sale, which we call a receipt, and a few photos of the car. It's also very important to be aware that if the car's been highly modified, the chances are that DOTAs, which is our Canberra people that import, give us approvals, will say no. So you're better off not going for a modified car.
Right.
If you want to modify it here.
Okay, so new laws now, they're leaning more towards the original cars, unmodified, original condition cars. They'll let them into the country relatively hassle-free.
Yes, they will. But they won't, a lot of people see, there's really beautiful fiberglass cars that are not a manufactured fiberglass car like a Cobra was, or a Corvette, or Corvettes such as this, a fiberglass. But if it's a model Ford, say, that was built in 2005 and it's got a 350 Chev in it, you're never going to get an import approval for the car. So stay away from it.
Danny, how many years have you been doing it?
I first went to the States in 1989 and imported in 1989.
How many cars do you think through that time that you've actually imported?
Thousands. Yeah, I wouldn't know. But at our peak we were doing, and it's quiet now because the dollar's down a bit, it's starting to pick up again now, but we were importing 52 containers a year at one stage, with 4 cars in them, so it's 200 cars a year. And we've been doing that for a long time, so yeah, a lot of cars.
Danny, I want to thank you for your time today. Very interesting segment, and the first type of segment in the history of Classic Restos. So thank you very much for your time, Danny.
Thanks, Fletch. I appreciate that, and keep going with the show. It's great fun.
So remember, step 1, find the vehicle of your choice. Step 2, do not pay for your vehicle online. Contact Brock Classic Imports to confirm your vehicle exists and is not a scam. Step 3, when approved, then pay for your vehicle. Step 4, apply online for an import approval at dotars.gov.au. And Step 5, contact Brock Classic Imports to arrange the final stages of your shipping. Now, for more information, get in touch with this big guy here, brockclassicimports.com.au. Here's how you structure your day, right? You get up of a morning, you have eggs from Pace Farm. You insure your classics with Shannons, you run Penrite oil in them, and then when it's time to work on them, you use tools from Hare and Forbes Machinery House. That is how you structure your day. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. Back with more right after this.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Hare and Forbes Machinery House have showrooms around Australia and New Zealand that will have you browsing for hours. See the largest range of industrial and workshop DIY tools. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au. Welcome back. Well, here I am at an undisclosed location in regional New South Wales. I've been told about this guy by the name of Frank, and apparently he's got some stuff laying around. So, having said that, welcome to this week's TV episode of Fletchy's Farm Finds. One thing about myself is that I love the country areas. The big cities may be okay, but to me, wide open spaces and fresh air has always appealed to me most. This then leads to the respect I have for our regional people, the towns, and of course, our farmers. There is nothing easy about life on the land. Lots of farming properties hold proud family history over many decades, adding up to thousands of stories, offering mixed emotions of good times on the land and not so good. Regional Australia and its people remain strong, and that also means there is equipment laying around, the witness marks and backbone to a moving nation, past and present. But on today's show, it's finding out what is here. I mean, this is private property. I've just come in here to have a snoop. Oh. Well, here we are today at Frank's place. How are you, Frank?
Good, Fletch, how are you?
Good, mate. Thanks for inviting me here.
That's okay. You can come any time you want.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I tell you, you've got some stuff laying around.
Yeah, a lot of it's laying around, but a lot I've done over the years. The last 10 years, all this stuff's been done. Yeah.
This first section here where we're standing, just give us a quick run through what you've got going on here.
Well, I've got a lot of the chains that I use pulling logs and things like that when we need firewood in winter. We've got an old post hole digger there that I've used several times.
It's a good lifestyle. You enjoy living here?
Oh, yeah, I love farming. You can't beat it. I've always wanted to go back to a farm. Well, we lived on a farm many years ago. We used to live in Griffith, like a lot of people know the town, but that's when I was a little kid. And then we moved into the city. My dad moved into the city and I always wanted to go back to a farm all my life. And it is a life. It's a way of living. It's hard work. If you don't like hard work, you don't live on a farm.
Mate, you've got a beautiful place here. It's peaceful, it's quiet. You're surrounded with your machinery and your toys, which you'll see a little bit later on in the show. It's kind of like, it's like Pandora's box coming to a property like this, because you walk around the corner, you don't know what you're going to see next.
Yeah, there is a lot of hidden little things around. But my mother-in-law's been here since the 70s, and there was a lot of stuff around that many years ago that sold off. But yeah, it is interesting. When I first come here and moved up here with my mother-in-law, I found it so interesting I couldn't even lay down and sleep through the day. I was that tired after finishing work. I had to go walking around and looking around, see what I could find, from nuts and bolts to old machinery up the back there. And yeah, I love it, and I still do love it. Till the day I die, I think I will always love it. Yeah, it is a way to live.
Powerful words, mate, which takes us now to the next section of the show. We're going to walk outside. Let's go and have a look at those tractors.
Okay, Fletch.
This is the New South Wales Mower Hornet. It is selective as to what mower it chooses. It's just like a marriage. If it's not happy, it will sting you and move on. Here, the Mower Hornet is deciding to either eat or breed with the hand grip. Either way, the Mower Hornet will devour it when it's finished. Then Frank the farmer will have to get his slasher out.
Okay, Frank, behind us, we've got an orange Fiat tractor. Now, what's the story here?
Well, this Fiat tractor belonged to my uncle that lived in Griffith. And at the time, going back a few years ago, he passed away. And one of my cousins just mentioned to me about the tractor, and he said, would I like it? Anyway, I said, yeah, I definitely would. So I jumped in a truck with my wife, and we drove to Griffith and picked it up, and we brought it back, because it was blowing a hell of a lot of smoke and it wasn't going very well at all. Anyway, the thing was going to go to a tip if I wasn't going to take it. So I redone the tractor. I used to start in the mornings early. Instead of getting to work at 8 o'clock like I start work, I'd get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, start working on my tractor. After about 6 months, I had the tractor fully redone, and it's going, and I use it. All these machines on here I do use. They're not only here for the looks, but they're here to do hard work. And they used them many years ago, and I use them today the same as what they did years ago.
Frank, you do an awesome job. I mean, no bolt left unturned here. I mean, all these tractors look sensational. You've got the P plate on front as well there too, mate. You must be still learning how to drive the Fiat, right?
Well, yes, I believe you're always learning on a tractor. You never take chances with them. Tractors kill a lot of people, and I believe that if you don't be careful, it can happen to you. But at the same time, I only use it on flat grounds, and that's a safer way, because when you start getting in the rugged sort of grounds, you've got to be really careful and have a roll cage, roll bar, where I only use it on flat grounds, and it's pretty safe.
Serious note, and good point, well taken. Now we move over to the Grey Ferguson over there. Now, what's the story on that one?
Well, the Grey Ferguson, there was a fellow come to my workshop and mentioned that he had a Grey Ferguson that he was going to take to a show, and he had it sitting in his shed for many years. So I asked him how much he wanted for it, and I said, okay, I'll take it. And I did the same thing with that. It was all painted and patched all up, and I pulled it all down to a bare shell and put a new clutch and everything else in it and got it going, and it came out so good and so smick, and I use that one every weekend I use it carting stuff, carrying firewood, carting the bins out to the front gate, and that's used every day.
Frank, behind us, the patina look Ferguson.
Yeah, well, that Ferguson come from near where I work. My brother Angelo one day come in and said, oh, there's a Ferguson up the road. He wasn't going to tell me about it because he knew I'd go out and buy it. Anyway, I went and seen the fellow that had it parked around the back. I mentioned it to him. He said, I'll find out about it. And he actually found out about it. And it was a farmer that bought it down, and he was going to redo it and take it back to his farm. So I asked him, did he want to sell it? And at the time he said, yeah, he did, and he gave me a figure, and I thought about it, and I said, yeah, I'll take it. It was over Christmas last year, and it didn't happen. He changed his mind. About 6 months later, I rang him back and asked him again, and he said, yeah, he said, I'll sell it. And I did go out and buy it, and it is a fantastic little tractor. And
Now, the blue Leyland tractor, now, is that in the tractor world, Frank, is that rare?
it is very rare. That one there come out with a slasher underneath, and I've never ever seen one like that before. And the same thing, I met this fellow, this elderly fellow at a party, and he's telling me he's got a tractor that he bought a property and he didn't know how to use it. And he told me to come up and have a look, so I went out and have a look at it. And at the time he told me he just virtually take it away. So I bought it for about $1,000 at the time, and I'd done the same thing to that, redone it, and I use it to do the top paddock and everything else like that, and it works fantastic.
He's got more tractors than he has paddocks.
Yeah, that's for sure. But my wife says, I think you've got enough now, so I don't know. Well, they're being me buying those and being me building sheds. So
Well, I know one thing, it's not from lack of space around the place. It's not as though that's your problem.
no, definitely not. There's enough work here to keep me going, that's for sure. There's no way I'd go back in the city. I love the way of life out here. It really is nice.
If you can see yourself travelling to the United States of America in 2016, why not consider a Fletch tour? There is nothing quite like a Fletch tour. Carlisle or Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
Book a Fletch tour. It's amazing.
Seen some absolutely amazing cars.
What an event.
Experience Route 66 from Chicago to Vegas, or choose the Detroit tour.
I would make it a point to go to Fletch Tours and come to Detroit.
There are 5 Fletch tours. Select the one that suits you best. See fletchtours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird,
Oh, that's mine.
the Combi for when we want to get away, the XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. From a garage jack through to a lathe, Hare and Forbes has the range. And Hare and Forbes Machinery House are Australian owned, established since 1930. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au.
Penrite, Australian made, family owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian made for Australian conditions since 1926.
Welcome back. Frank, you having fun?
Yes, Fletch, I sure am. Looks like the weather's going to hold out for a while. It's getting hotter as the day goes on.
Too true. And to go with that, you're full of surprises. I mean, the vehicles here are never ending. It's like, we'll go into this shed and have a look, and then Frank will pull it out, and here we go. Now, we've got a 1958 Vanguard. Now, it's probably the first Vanguard that I've seen in this condition. It's brilliant. Now, what have you done with it, Frank?
Well, I bought it off this fellow, nice gentleman called Dave. That's as far as I go with the name. And he done a fair bit of work on it. But when I picked the car off him, I done things like brakes, fully rebuilt the motor, done the interior. So it wasn't too bad when I picked the car, and it seems to be getting better and better as time goes on. I keep doing little things to it.
Radiator sitting crooked. What's going on there? It's like as though a man's done his shirt buttons up crooked. You miss the hole and it's all out of whack.
I think it's a reason for when you fill your radiator up, the air travels to the highest point and it'll just bleed itself, where if you had it the other way, you'd have big airlocks in your radiator.
Frank, history of this vehicle. Where did you get it from?
Well, a fellow come into the mechanic shop where I work, and he had it for a number of years that I actually worked on it before. And he come in one day and he told me he's going to sell his car. So I asked him what he'd like for it. He gave me a number, and I said, I'll take it.
So essentially, typically a British car sold here in Australia, right? Who was the dealers that used to distribute them?
Well, I don't actually know the dealers, but I know they come out in the time of the Holdens, when the FC Holden that were out, and they mainly were 6-cylinder Holdens, and these come out in a 4-cylinder. But later on, as far as I know, they did come out with a 6-cylinder engine, but the 4-cylinder engine was, I suppose, for economy, and some people leaned towards the 4-cylinder, but mainly I think they did still stick with the Holdens.
I love Vanguards, and I will save my grass to buy one. Yeah.
We walked just 3 metres from one vehicle to another. This 1966 HR Holden. This is beautiful.
It surely is. It's a nice, clean car. It's pretty well rust-free, and it does have the original, well, as far as we know, it is the original 161 motor and the free on the tree. So it is a nice car, fitted with power disc brakes, and it does a job. Even driving in modern cars, driving against modern cars, it drives well.
I mean, with utes, they were either flogged or they rusted to bits or written off, ended up in wrecking yards. This is the kind of like the lucky few, the ones that just slip through and pop out the other side. It's an incredible example. I mean, I wouldn't imagine there's many HR utes left like this.
No, I don't think there's many HR utes like this. Simple reason was a lot of builders bought them, a lot of concreters, and what they did, they left them out in the weather with a wheelbarrow in the back and it rusted the back end out of them. Some cars like this one here might have been saved. It might have done a winery job where it was parked in a big shed, or some job like that where it was undercover.
Frank, I really appreciate you showing us these beautiful cars, the Vanguard, the HR Holden. Now, what have you got left? Is there anything else here?
Well, I don't know if I should show you this, Fletch, but since you're a nice guy, I think I'll show you up in that green shed behind those doors. There might be something there that you just might like, and I think there's a few viewers that might like it too.
Frank, you never cease to amaze. We've walked into the shed. I've been blown away with an LC GTR XU1 Tirana. There's also a logbook Prem, and then up front here is a barn find. We have an XW GT Falcon.
Yeah, it is one of a kind, and it is all in original condition, and it really goes well too.
We've seen plenty of GT Falcons that have been restored. They look sensational. Look at this. This is bare bones. We're talking grassroots here. Never been touched.
No, it hasn't been touched. I've known the car for a number of years, and it's all in original condition. And besides the tapper covers, I just have to put them back on the car. But otherwise, it's pretty well all original.
You got the original 5-slotters going on there. How many miles has the car done?
Well, it's got under the 100,000. It's still on the clock. I do have to do a little bit of work to spruce it up a little, but you'd have to expect that. The car is a 1970 model. So I think in a couple of months or so, you'll see a nice, tricked up little car. Still in original condition, but not restored.
So we hear of barn finds, don't we? We do. And here's one today. You know, we've seen a couple here today. It's just, it's always interesting to see what is lurking in the regional areas of Australia, tucked away in our sheds.
The fellow had it from 1970, so he's had it for a number of years, and he hasn't driven it since 1981 last registered. Surprisingly, nothing's really gone too badly wrong with the rust and all that. He's kept it in a shed, so it's still in a pretty good condition.
Well, Frank, it's come to that part of the day where we've got to end the show, and it's late in the day. I've been here all day. It's been wonderful, mate. I really appreciate you having me.
Oh, it's more than welcome to come. You could come anytime you like. I mean, it's fantastic having you here, Fletch. It really is.
Mate, you and your cars and what you've got hiding around the place, I mean, I know you're never bored.
I'm definitely not bored, that's for sure. Life's good, I enjoy it, I love my hobby, and I love life.
Yeah. Good on you, mate, and it certainly shows again. Thank you very much, Frank. Been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Fletch.
Well, what did you think of that? We've come to the end of today's show, and this week's episode of Classic Restos featuring Fletchy's farm finds here at Frank's place. As I say at the end of every episode, until next week, no matter where you're watching from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs.